Hello, hello. And tonight is a special edition of Moments with Vivacious. And we have with us Uncut from Gen X, I think. Gen Z or Gen X, right? Yes, it's Uncut. I'm telling you, we have to join. We divided in so many ways, and this is the most important way, I think, and where we should start joining first. Because these are the people that should be running America right now. So call everybody you know, tell them to tune in, and we'll be right back in 1 minute. Uncut, Pook Williams. And don't forget to like, share, and if you have not subscribed, subscribe. But tonight is going to be really good. So it may not be some of the things that we can relate to, but we'll learn. Because learning how. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. I think we have some back studio going on. Hey, Dia says hi. She's tuned in for tonight. She's a little controversial herself, so she'll be enjoying tonight. And so any minute now, we'll be getting on. Pook is going to take the stage. And Sigrid says, good evening, everyone. I don't know what happened, y'all. He's waiting. He's here waiting to take the stage. I do apologize. Today was quite a day. I don't know what was going on today because it was so busy at work. I didn't get to tune in. I didn't get to tune in to see what was going on in our world and what in the world they're doing now. And what in the world they're doing now. I think I was able to.
Can't hear you.
Hey, here we go. We got him. Hi. I tried something and made it work, you guys. We are so excited. We've been waiting. We just want to thank you, Mr. Williams, for making a time out of your schedule and moving around so you could be here with us tonight. We're so glad you're here. So please introduce yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Anthony Williams. I'm affectionately known as Pook or Pooker. Born and raised in New Orleans. Um, Traveled abroad since I was maybe 18 or 19. Graduate of Joseph S. Clark Senior High School. some college, Southern University. Um, I also attended fashion school in Atlanta, uh, American Intercontinental School of Design and Marketing. I came back home right after Katrina and completed barber school, so I'm a certified master barber. Um, and I've been in the political space as far as probably as young as 13 or something like that. Whenever I started going to Tambourine and Fan, the Huntersville, that's when I really got introduced in history and politics and stuff. I also have affiliations with the Nation of Islam, a few other independent organizations and brothers who uh, work in the community.
And for my biggest pride, you didn't mention this young man has been a businessman all his
Yeah,
life. From
yeah.
grammar school, he knew how to multiply a dollar and make it work and help his mom and save money and build bigger businesses. And I'm just so proud. I'm very proud of who you are and the wisdom and the knowledge that you have. But tonight we want to talk about our nation. And I want to start off with, if you don't mind, I want to start off with the changing of the guards, the changing of the guards, the passing on of the baton. As we all know, I tell all my stories that I'm from we're from the older generation, and I forget all the names for the generations sometimes, and we did things a certain way. Even when civil rights, there were some of us that didn't um, believe that we should be fighting for our freedom and fighting for our rights to vote. And
Mhm.
then Hook you X, right? Gen X, right?
Yeah, Gen X.
So to we haven't passed the baton.
Well,
So
I kind of think I don't know if the most of the people even know that there's a baton to pass. Um, a lot of them don't even know what generation they fall in. So it's a lot of education that needs to go on if we're gonna talk about passing anything down. Also, we got to be able to identify the misinformation or the people who are that's just giving us frivolous information that's muddying up the waters in the lines as far as where people should focus. Um, for instance, my grandmother in them era, I can't remember the name of it, but it was the Great Something. And then after them came, I want to say,
we the baby boomers. So was there
the big
somebody
ad.
before
After
us?
them, the great. I can't remember the name of them, but our grandmother era was called one thing. Y'all era was the baby boomers. Gen X starts from 1965 to 1980. So that's our era. Then after that, you have millennials, which was think Gen Y or whatever, and now you got Gen Z, and now you're on to I think I forgot what the next one's gonna be, but you got to identify what generation is which. You got kids out here that's calling Gen X's boomers, and it's just a lot of language is muddied up when it comes to passing the baton. I tell you what, right now I'm an advocate of a docu series that's called Hidden Colors. It's a 5-part series so far. He's actually the guy's name is Tariq Nasheed. He's a foundational Black American. His lineage, his bloodline, and everything goes back to the beginning. But he put together this documentary, and he goes into depth into each category of society and where Black people fit and what was missing, what was really done. For instance, with the civil rights movement, you know, they didn't show a lot of the fighting that we did back. They always show you these same clips of us getting beat, sprayed with hoses, attacked with the dogs. It's the same clip over and over and over and over again. They don't show you all the other clips. You know what I'm saying? So they don't get to see how the fight truly was. And that's a part of the media that was going on then. Now you have social media, you're able to see whatever kind of information you need to see. And a lot of the kids, a lot of the youngsters already, they doing their thing. I ain't even gonna lie, they out there, they getting the information out. It's a lot of stuff that I already knew. I hate to say it like that. I don't want to sound like a know-it-all, but a lot of the stuff that they talk about now, I already knew. People had a big thing with Kanye West. A lot of stuff Kanye West was saying, people have been saying for decades. So, it wasn't no profound thought or no. They tried to make it seem like it was some kind of genius stuff that was coming out of his mouth, but it wasn't. It's just a lot. He's just regurgitating a lot of information he heard from other people. So we got to do a better job of passing that information down. First, identifying who we are and where we fit in passing the information down.
But I'm thinking, and this is what I'm thinking as a baby boomer.
Hmm.
It's our time. Well, it's past our time. We did have the Obamas. We do have the guy that's the Chicago mayor. We do have my girl. This well, she was the representative for Texas, and then Jasmine Crockett. We have um, we have Miss Martin that's coming up in Atlanta. That's very vocal, and it's not to me. It's not only needed for you to be vocal, but you have to be saying something with power that's going to move things. And I think personally that a lot of the baby boomers that's holding those seats that we should be passing on are not thinking differently.
Do you mean in legislation? Or you talking about people in politics, or I mean
I'm
you just
talking
saying
about
in
the
general?
not only in politics, because politics is one seat, but the voice of the people that I think, and you, I hope you could help me with this. I'm like, where's that voice? Where's that leader's voice? We need a leader's voice. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they were not politicians.
Well, again,
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I know everybody been wanting somebody to come out with a voice to speak for us, but I'm gonna be honest with you, them days are kind of over with. You're gonna have a bunch of voices like you did when you had, uh, and you actually do have a lot of them people that's speaking out, but the media doesn't. Is they're not going to show the mainstream media is not going to show you the progress of Black people. They're not going to do that. So that we might as well get that out the way. We need to focus more on ourselves. Like you said in the beginning, each generation has to pick up the torch from where they were and what they know about what was going on and pass that down to whoever's the next person that they see that has a voice. And the other thing is we got to do a better job of protecting the voices that we do get. Because look what happened to Brother Malcolm, and look what happened to Martin, and look what happened to Medgar Evers, and look what happened to all these different people who stepped up for us in those positions, and they were just taken out. They were sold out. It was COINTELPRO did a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. That's a big thing about this FBA thing that's going on now. The
What's
delineation
the
of
FBA? You mean the food?
is foundational Black
What's the FBA?
Americans.
I'm sorry.
So what it is not a. Let me get this straight too. It's not a group. It's not they calling it all kind of stuff. What happened is the brother who did the documentary I was speaking on, he just defined who Black Americans are. From young, they always like, yeah, you African, you Black, you Negro, you this, you that, and nobody wanted to accept us. You know what I'm saying? So, um, what happened was he figured out a way to put the delineation. I mean, put the whole community of Black Americans in the United States of America under one banner. So it's not a group or nothing like
So we
that. If
named
you
ourselves.
we
Okay.
named ourselves, that's what we did, and it's blazing. It's catching fire. It's blazing everywhere. As a matter of fact, you got publications using it. The New York Times, CNN is using it. It's to define Black Americans who lineage go past when America was here. We from New Orleans. New Orleans has been here before America was here. New Orleans and Florida have the two oldest, I think, settlements that's ever been here before that. Not to mention our Indian background that goes back thousands and thousands of years that was in already here. So
Mm-hmm.
what he did was it accompanies everything, even the Irish, whatever we came, whoever came here and settled, because like we have Black, French, and Dutch, and all these different, we put it under one banner as Black people, and that's what he did. So again, people should go and check out this Hidden Colors docuseries because it explains a ton. It explains
So
about
what is the definition? Am I missing something? Is that
it's
the FDA?
yeah, the foundational Black Americans. All it is that you can track your
FBA.
lineage
Okay.
back all the way before there was even America here. So those are the type of things that's actually happening behind the scenes, but it's not going to get any kind of publication. You know what I'm saying?
But I
I
believe
have you heard about the tendonism guy?
no. What's the
The guy,
tendenism?
he's a pit master. He makes the barbecue and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So he had a bad run, and he was working at a coffee house, and it was going bad. And uh, he came up with an idea to do barbecue and stuff like that. His first dish was gumbo though. So he 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 did the gumbo. He then did some oxtails and ribs, and it got real popular. Well, needless to say, they didn't give the man any equity. It was all his idea. He did all the work and everything. They didn't give him a portion, any equity in the company. They tried to steal the trademark and the name tendonism that he came up with to make itself go viral. So what we did was people who consider themselves foundational Black Americans, they jumped online and they went to bat for him. So we out there doing the work for each other. It's just not going. We just got to be more conscious. And honestly, we got to get away from mainstream media. All those people they cool, the Rolling Martins, whatever. We got to get away from that being our only. Those type of people being our only insight to what's going on in our community. That's a big problem. We have the internet now. We have different platforms. It's a ton of people out there that's getting the word out and that's doing the work. Giving our late thank God our late brother Kevin Samuels came when he did because he did a ton of work that we are just now starting to see, and he just now starting to give him his flowers. They want to make him out to be a guy who was disrespectful and all that, but he wasn't. He was just harsh in a place where people didn't want to hear the truth. So we have elders and we have brothers and sisters that's out there that's stepping up and that's doing the work. We just got to give them more play. You know, we can't keep going with the same old status quo people telling us this, that, and the third. That's how our great leaders get killed because you know those type of people step in and give misinformation and lead people astray. So what I want to do is, and I'm not saying I don't want to do that. I don't want to say that they misleading people. I want to say the information is not complete. They give you bits and pieces and stuff. That's how you get a picture of Jerry Jones as a teenager at a rally. I mean at the school that's remember when the little girls was integrating into the school. He's out there
Mhm.
with the people that's protesting, the racists out there. That's how that picture gets put in the background and only gets to come to light 60 something years later. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
we got to pay attention that the media that was set up that we were getting in the beginning, all through the 60s, all through the 70s, the 80s, that was propaganda. That wasn't what we needed. We able to tap in now. We able to tap into each other directly. You know what I'm saying? That's a
And
big thing.
that's
Cause
why we have Vivacious Speaks and Moments with Vivacious.
exactly,
And this is
exactly.
why I want to have everybody, every generation, to come and say what your experience, what you're feeling, what do you think that would make us better? You know,
Well, you spoke you
this
spoke
is
on
good.
my entrepreneurship, my ability to do business. That was one of the reasons I got into media, even though that my passion and my craft is barbering. Um, I got into media honestly to combat a lot of the media that's already out that was being put out there. You know what I'm saying? That's the big reason why we did our own thing and we developed our own production company and
Right.
it's so but the other part of it is you won't ever get any mainstream media out there if things were still the way they were because it was so expensive to produce. Like for you to put this podcast on back then, oh man, you know,
Right.
and then you wouldn't even had a platform to display it, which means you would have had to shop it to a network or some type of media platform outside of, you know, normal spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things are a blessing. You know, it's a gift and a curse and everything, because you see the nonsense on here. So you know what I'm saying? You 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 know, you really can't. You're gonna have a little bit of nonsense wherever you go. We just have to, you know, police that in a sense in our own community. We gotta stop letting people police us, and we gotta be able to start taking criticism and stuff like that from ourselves.
I agree. So this is good. This is good. Dia said when we were talking about the barbecue man, Dia said he got his ownership. So did
Yeah,
he?
guys. So what happened was,
Mhm,
okay, what happened was the guy, when they found when you know, everybody found out, then they started advocating for him. They started advocating for him to uh you know, go ahead and do his own thing. And they found out that the people at the place that was messing over him, they were trying to trademark it. So a lawyer, an independent lawyer, came along, and he hurried up and trademarked it. And he did a specific trademark. And see, that's the other thing, you got to know business. We don't pass down business, and we don't pass down financial information well. So what happened was the lawyer went ahead, he trademarked it, and he held on to it, and he's trademarked it specifically for the areas that he needed, that were specific to merchandise and cooking and things in catering realm, you know, things that hovered around what he was doing, right?
mhm.
So the white guy, he's Armenian. He ended up coming on. Who? I'm sorry, I got to go back a little bit. Keith Lee came up to the restaurant while the guy was still there before everything happened, and he tried to go and Keith Lee he gives reviews, and then he gives money. You know what I'm saying? And they denied him access because he was in the middle of a podcast. So they didn't even, you know, try to get back in contact with him or nothing until the people that, you know, saw it said something. So that was the nail in the hammer, that because he just did an interview and said it. He said that was kind of the nail in the hammer because he didn't want nobody speaking for him. So he ended up leaving. When he left, that lawyer guy got in contact with him, wrote, you know, signed it all over to him, didn't charge him anything, you know, and he has a team now that's helping him. He just did Ryan Isley. He was just on Sherry Shepherd show. He's on a bunch of big other podcasts right now. He's blowing up since he's left these guys. But that they're able to do those type of things to us because before we wasn't able to check it in real time. You see what I'm saying? It would have been 2, 3, 4 months down the line before we were able to say something before social media hit. So now the restaurant is closed. They're saying, it's about to close. You know, the last post they had of the restaurant, they didn't have no these. Now, mind you, they had lines out the door and down the street to come
He
see this
trying to get his
assembly.
food, so now they went to his food. It was something like we said, we don't have suppers in our neighborhood no more because we went to McDonald's and all other people. But it's the same thing that I've been. You know, you've been media all over the country, so you know what I'm about to say is real. Black people in media don't let you in. If you're not a part of the clique, or if you don't come under them like you can't ever be equal to them.
Right,
If you're not part of the clique, they're not going to try to help you. They don't try to help you.
right.
But that's been a problem. Nola Reed said Mr. Tenderism. Yeah, right, Nola. So about that, from your generation to my generation, we want to have
Huh?
breakdowns.
I mean.
And we're talking about your generation, Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
How do we, what do you see is going to be a way to break the prejudices that we have in the, what am I calling them, the little gangs or whatever? How do we break that to become, you understand what I'm saying
You
though?
mean the different little sectors we have now?
Right.
uh, I don't know if you want to break it. It's some of them are good. We just gotta, like I said,
But I mean, opening the door from new people coming. We know what they're going to do to us, but we're
right.
doing. Sometimes we're doing us the same thing. But do you see that in your generation? How do y'all approach?
Well, the thing about it is you got to realize our generation was the one without a war. We didn't go to war. We didn't do anything. So we were doing good until they dumped a bunch of crack on us and guns. That was the whole thing. We didn't have to deal with the racism. White folks, they didn't want no parts of us because we were too confident. But we didn't channel that confidence into something productive. We didn't turn it into more businesses. You know what I'm saying? We still have the same amount of uh financial like equity, I should say, yeah, in America that we had way back then. We didn't grow. We only gained in money. We didn't gain in equity, meaning we don't have the businesses anymore. We have, you know, integration did a number on us in the sense that it took a lot of businesses away from the community. You know what I'm saying? And that's another reason for the delineation movement. It's time to focus on us. People are actually mad at us because we're not fighting everybody's fight. You know what I'm saying right now? And I personally, honestly feel like this is the best time for us not to be fighting anybody's fight, but our own. We could get ourselves together in a nice little span of time, while they focusing on all this other craziness that's going on, that they actually making themselves. We don't have a hand in, mind you, we don't have a hand in none of this stuff. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But um, that's their fight right now. So we can honestly go and dig our heels in and get a lot accomplished. We just got to go and do the homework and do the real work, which we are. If you look at the numbers, we are. We stabilizing. Let me say that. I wouldn't say we doing better or worse. We stabilizing. We getting past that crack era. You know what I'm saying? We just got through a pandemic, so a lot of people they refocus, they rechannel. That pandemic woke up a lot of people too.
This
You
is
know what
a
I'm
good
saying?
conversation, Paul. I
So,
want to talk about two things. I want you to explain the delineation.
mhm.
Like, I don't know what that is. So,
Well, you see, you have the immigration problem right now, right?
yes.
So what's going on is you have that's it also has a big thing to do with reparations. Um, but it's a part of us being a part of the diaspora, the African diaspora, on our own. That's who we are. For instance, uh, you can ask anybody; they know that Brazilians came from Africa, right?
Yes.
But they're called Brazilians. They're given the respect of being called a Brazilian.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The thing about it with us is the only time that becomes a problem when it's Black Americans. And honestly, we just added the foundational part because we realized we really built the country before there was even a country. And we added on the innovation, the musical culture. You couldn't even open the door without Black people. You know what I'm saying? So there was this thing where they were starting to say that Black Americans don't have culture. And it was just a lot of shots that were being thrown at just Black Americans. We were like, hold up. We fought for the Immigration Right Act for them to come over here and things of that nature. So what we did was we put ourselves in our category, and now that when we fight for certain things, we have 50 million definitive Black people that fall under a category to get the job done. So when a decision is made, or when we go and vote and we say, okay, Black people, what do? We can definitively say, okay, that's these many people, and they did this. We're not mixing in Africans, we're not mixing in Haitians, we're not. It's just us. Not, and then you could count those people separately. You know what I'm saying? They're still Black people. They're still from Africa, right? But we
Some
have
of
our
us, but
own
some of us
delineation.
was from right here, as we know from our lineage.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. That's what we're saying. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
See, grandma used to talk about this all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
I retained a lot of the information, the pictures she used to show us and all that. I remember a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that. And Black people don't realize the thing they took away from us is our connection to the Indians that were the actual
We were the Indians.
natives.
We
Yeah, we
were
were
the Indians.
exactly. We were them. So
Hmm.
they did a lot of recategorizing and reclassifying us and muddying up the waters again. They love to do that. You know, they like to think that the gun is what kept us captive. No, it was a lot of language. You know what I'm saying? They kept moving the goalposts. So that's what the delineation is about. That's what the whole movement of us separating ourselves, but still being we not saying we're not fighting for our brothers and sisters or nothing like that. But we got to get our things in order, and then we could come and help y'all in y'all house. Because one of the biggest problems with immigration and you having a lot of illegal immigrants is they're not allowing them to develop in their own homes. Because why, if Africa has the most minerals and precious resources in the world, why are they coming here? That place should be developed more than anywhere in the world. But it's been bled dry for so many years that the people and I hate to say it, they don't have the slavery and stuff that happened over there was a lot different than what happened over here. And Dr. Claude Henderson, if y'all know who that is, y'all should check him out. He explains a lot of it. You know, our slavery was a lot different. Nobody had slavery like we did here, so it forced us to be innovative in a lot of ways. It built up our resilience. Nobody fights like us. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big thing about everything. That's what we're trying to show them. Like, y'all got to fight for y'all homeland. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to draw a line in the sand. I don't know if people are familiar with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Nigeria, but they starting it. I love brother Abraham Traore.
Hmm.
Um, I hope he lasts. You know what I'm saying? I hope they protect him. But he's giving a blueprint to Africa on what to do with colonialism. You know what I'm saying? And pushing people out. But a lot of our problems that we having with people in our diaspora comes from them not knowing again about our history. So you talked about the elders and Gen X and the baby boomers passing down information. We gotta get back on it and start studying ourselves. We got to get that information back and the experiences we know. We got to pass that down also. But by me knowing the difference between who I am as opposed to who you are, that gives us a better fight. You know what I'm saying? They're not muddying up the waters with us because that's what they do. They try to throw us in all in one gumbo. Like, oh, all y'all just African. No, that's not how it is. You don't do that to Brazilians. You don't do that to no other nationality. So why do it to Black Americans? So our fight in America is getting actually stronger. We're actually getting stronger through the delineation movement. You know what I'm saying? It was a big thing on social media with our brother Michael B. Jordan. Um, the Ghanaian people, they tried to they tried to say he was Ghanaian because his daddy flew in from Ghana the night before, the night of the
Awards.
the awards, right? So we had to clear that up. That was a big old thing. Um, his daddy people was from Louisiana, they're from Shreveport. His mama people was from Hope, Arkansas. So you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get the information right. They try to take so much from us that these things matter. And now that we see the thing that's happening with Mr. Tenderism, we see the things that happened in the 60s and the 70s, how they reappropriated stuff and took our stuff. You know what I'm saying? How they had the white version of the Temptations and all that. We need to draw a line in the sand, all of us. You know what I'm saying? A lot of other immigrants and nationalities they already did. You can't tell a Haitian he's not African. He's not Haitian. You can't say to him he's African. You're gonna say I'm Haitian. So now black people are, in America, we got our thing. This is our thing, and the majority of us is rolling with it. Is getting much respect amongst other diasporas, amongst the global diaspora, but amongst those ones that make up the globe, we're getting that respect. You know.
Yeah. This is real good. I'm mesmerized. But look, I want to talk more. Um, I'm glad you're coming to spend some time with me in Atlanta.
Hmm.
I'm glad you're coming to spend some time because I want to talk more about this. Okay. And
Hmm.
I want to talk because we have to bring all this together.
Hmm.
Lola Reed say, I agree, Pook. We have to fix us, not them. Okay.
Right.
All right, all right. This is where vivacious sits, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we just let everything go down, we're not gonna have a nation for our children to grow up in. Last night we talked a little about that. We talked a little bit about when we were coming up. You know, my nanny had her own business. Mardi Gras is a white man's holiday, but my nanny made her own business out of Mardi Gras and taught us how to make money out of Mardi Gras. She taught
Right.
us how to save money. When she first gave me a job, she took me to Hibernia Bank
Right.
to make sure I had you too.
Yeah, she took all us to the bank.
Yes,
She made sure we knew how to balance the
you
checkbook.
have to save this much money. You know, you pay yourself first, and you know she taught us those things. We knew our family history. She told us. She wrote it. She had the picture. As a matter of fact, when it was just going through her house, they had receipts from found receipts from the 1960s. She saved everything. We
Mm-hmm.
learned the Negro National Anthem in her dining room at her house and at our kitchen table at my daddy's house. We couldn't sing the Star Spangled Banner until we learned how to sing the Negro National Anthem. So we had that. My daddy had to clean us. He had a business. He fixed everything. He built our house. We were self contained.
Mm-hmm.
We have become so dependent on other people and the government for rent and a place to stay. And if we say, look, you're going to have to learn how to feed yourself, we're going to have to learn how to feed ourselves, we're going to have to learn how to share. They don't understand that. I remember when Mr. Adams used to bring stuff home and passed it over the fence. You know, everybody shared in the neighborhood. We shared even down in that I'm sorry, in daddy's neighborhood. Talk about that. Because I think
Well, the thing about that's again that goes back to the media coverage and the things that they're trying to push down our throat. The number one thing they're trying to push is individualism. Everybody, because see, this the thing about it. As far as the government assistance, we starting to wean away from that. The numbers show that we
okay,
getting
good.
away from that. You know,
Hmm.
the majority of us are making at least the medium. I want to say about 60% or something. I don't have the exact numbers on me, but we climbing out of that hole. The problem is what you just said, the individualism. We don't help each other. We don't co-op anything anymore. As a matter of fact, I had an issue with somebody who I kind of respected before he said what he said, but it's a guy by the name of Wallow 267, and he was like, "We need to get away from that black ish." And I'm like, you know, we ain't worrying about whether or not your business is black. Uh, we worried about how it is, and I understand all of that. Everything he said, I agree with parts of it, but that's the point I was trying to make. See, things like that take you away from the basis of the struggle. And the basis of the struggle is for us to be together because obviously nobody else was messing with us. So you don't want to get away from your foundation. And your foundation was you and what we did with each other and the money that we made amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? The amount of money we have now, we make is a collective. Foundational Black Americans make $1.2 trillion a year. But we don't have nothing coming back in. And they've been singing this song since integration was allowed in because before integration, 85% of our wealth was circulated through the community. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
9, 10 times or something like that. So we missing out on a lot of that due to individualism. A lot of us are getting we struggling and we fighting to get the good jobs, or we making two and three hustles and this and that and the third. But what are we doing it for? We not buying nothing but their items. We don't make nothing. We don't manufacture nothing anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's a situation right now to where we really don't have a say so in how our life goes and how for instance the housing market right now. The houses could be a little bit cheaper if we own our own houses. most of the houses are being bought up by corporate America. So we don't own anything, we don't manufacture anything. You know what I'm saying? We don't ship anything. We don't have no connection with nobody outside. You see what I'm saying? So, some of the places where it's majority black, they don't have the resources. If we wanted to trade with Haiti, they don't have anything for us to trade with. You know what I'm saying? Africa, they're fleeing from Africa to come to here. They fighting over there to get the resources, period. You got France getting kicked out of 3 nations. So, they have people that's out there trying to do it, but it's not gonna get done unless more of us start to turn that money inward and start to spend out. We gotta start making more since the brick and mortar is dead, because they outpriced the brick and mortar. To have a business, you gotta have super duper insurance, number one. To make the products that you're gonna sell or whatever, that's jacked up. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, yeah, the individualism is the main thing that's killing us. Like you say, when we had a problem, we fixed it ourselves. But now, we got back to fixing it ourselves, but we got to doing it another way, and it's real nasty towards each other. That's why we have a lot of the issues, a lot of the back and forths we have in the different areas of society, like the gender wars you got right now, and all these different things. Because we really don't know. We don't know what we did back then, how we sustained stuff back then. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Claude Anderson tells us in what is it? I can't think of the name. Oh man, I'm gonna find out the name, but
But
he
just say
tells
his
us in
name
this.
and we could go look it up.
Yeah,
Claude
his name
Anderson.
is Dr. Claude Anderson.
Okay.
It's something
And
about economics. I can't remember the name of the book, but he tells us in the book, you know, how fighting other people's fights also killed our, like, the bus boycotts. We had 250 something buses, and I never knew that for a while until maybe about 10 years ago. That they had their own bus companies, 250 something buses in Birmingham or wherever it was at. You know what I'm saying? That fight killed a lot of our businesses. So now we're trying to find a way to turn that money back into ourselves. But mostly people are just taking care of their families. They don't really care about the next door neighbor no more. You know what I'm saying? But that's the problem. That's why, people should go and get that book, Dr. Claude Anderson's book, and, see how he breaks down the different levels of economics to where we can have that money. But then even after we get past that, we got to start setting up some type of security for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We can't just keep leaving our health and well-being into the next man's hands. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
It's again, it's almost 50 million of us now. So we got enough people to combat anybody. As a matter of fact, I think they did that in Ohio recently. Some neo Nazis or somebody went up there to this black neighborhood one day,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole neighborhood came out on them. And then they took that corner. They walked the kids to school every day from that day on.
With their
There's
gun.
some brothers. There's some brothers in Detroit called the New Era Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They go out to the different corner stores, liquor store. It don't matter. They'll go and post up wherever it's a high crime area, and they protect the people going in and out, escort the ladies, and the elderly to their cars. You know what I'm saying? They armed now.
They
They're not
had a
just
new
standing out
era,
there.
but it's not like Chicago and Detroit. Detroit's is the strongest. Chicago, but Atlanta, you know, I couldn't even get in touch with them.
Well,
That would have been good to they have
Atlanta's
a
Atlanta's Atlanta.
yeah.
So I mean, it's starting to be a little too much show. It used to be a lot of solid things going on behind the scenes in Atlanta, but this is a lot of, you know, everything is for the clout right now. So I don't know.
Everything is for the what?
Clout. Everybody, they call it clout chasing. Everybody want to be seen,
Okay.
the attention. You know.
Yeah. And that's what I was making that point. That's when I was making that point. If they're not gonna help you, they think you're gonna rise higher than them. You
Oh
know?
no, that's
Yeah.
something that's been instilled. That's not nothing new. People
Hmm.
people people often get me confused on set as a worker because I'm always working with the team. I don't. You know, I got a policy when we go places, when we go out of town. You know, my foot is the first one off the ground and the last one that's back in the car. So it's just protocol. People don't know how to do things no more, and they just think, you know, you making it when you driving a big fancy car or in a big fancy house. Some people don't even think about that. They don't think about material assets like everybody else do. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So um just just perspective has to change, and then you'll get all the other, you'll get the compassion and the love back. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, see, a lot is changing. We just don't get to see it, and I think elderly people or older people or even, you know, Gen X as well, whoever. I don't think a lot of us get to see it because we not as, you know, knowledgeable about the platforms that people are giving out this information. You know what I'm saying? So
And we're
you
not as open to it.
right, right. You got a lot of
And
brothers, you know, that's new, that's out there. You got a brother by the name of Philip Scott, the African diaspora. His channel, he's real good, man, and breaks down a lot of different political aspects. He breaks down a lot of that's somebody you should try and get on the show. That'll be a nice show for you. Yeah.
who is it? Tell me
His
again.
name is Philip Scott.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you that again at another
Philip
time.
Scott. Yeah. But
Mm.
you have so many people that's out there. I just don't think, you know, the older our people get, they don't know these different things about technology, so they don't know how to go and search and see who's talking about what. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if they did, the pandemic wouldn't have been as big as it was, because they had a lot of ways and methods that, you know, people could have helped keep themselves healthy in the midst of the pandemic. That, you know, the information didn't get passed around properly. You know what I'm
But so
saying?
many of us, this don't sound like a negative way. It's so Americanized. We only know, even younger,
Right,
we
right,
only know
right.
what these people gonna say. But I worked hand in hand, held people in my arms during the pandemic, and the first thing I take is black seed oil every day.
Every day. I got a
I
regular all black seed oil every day. And I
I
take a
never
hibiscus.
ever I never got sick.
Nope,
Never.
nope, nope. And these things been here. That's the crazy part. They've been here, and you know, uh it's been a situation where we could have been using this stuff and, you know, like I said, passing this information around, but we didn't have the knowledge about how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, I kind of got into a back and forth with my uncle about the pandemic and about, you know, what was going on.
Which uncle? Which uncle?
My parent, David.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't trying to, even Dominic too, come to think of it. Um, and I wasn't trying to downplay it, but I was trying to give them information and let them know that I was already on top of this. I wasn't as scared of the pandemic as everybody else, because I was already on top of it because of the research I do, the people I follow, the people I trust. You know what I'm saying? And one of the brothers, Brother Rizza Islam, had been saying this stuff. Him and I know people don't like him, but I actually like him. The Kennedy brother, uh,
Robert
they were
Kennedy.
yeah,
Oh,
he was
that
working with
dude
he was working
is
with the minister, and he was working with Rizza Islam, and it was like about five other doctors that they, I want to say about 5 to 7 other doctors, they were trying to get this information out maybe about 5 years before it happened. They were trying to warn people and trying to get the um they were trying to get the word out about, you know, the food itself. That was the thing. And then they started to do the studies about the autism rate, and they started to peel back the layers of different stuff, and they started reading different documents, and they started to warn us. I was trying to tell them, look, I already knew this stuff was coming, you know. So went and did my research early, you know. So I mean, like I said, it's just really about passing around information, and we gotta be.
I know
Just another thing, we gotta stop being so scared of new information,
Hook.
of something that we
Hook.
never heard before.
Hook. We're not following Kennedy. Kennedy is crazy.
I don't think he's crazy, man. I'm
I
sorry, I don't
think
think he's
he
crazy. I don't. I don't.
I
I don't.
think he is crazy. You
Everything
need to
I've
get
ever heard
off
him
Hook.
say.
I say
You
my
know why
cousin.
people say that? You know why people say that is because of the whole thing revolving around black people with pain. and what he's saying about our genetics. And a lot of what he's saying is correct. He's not saying he's going to harm. He's saying we are stronger than what they're making us out to be. Now, what they do to us because we have a different body makeup is wrong. Yes, that is wrong. But he's right in the sense of black people's bodies are extraordinary. Extraordinary.
And
We have
that's
more
why they
taste
took,
buds than
and
anybody
that's
else on the
why,
planet.
who was
We
that
have
lady
a
man that
larger
took
pineal
themselves
gland.
still curing people? I understand that, but that's different. What I'm saying, I can't say because of where I stand in my job and my license. I can't make my comment. I'm holding back my comment about vaccinations. But I
Right.
will say this: if you're living in a very Western way and you're eating all of these, what do they call it, processed foods, your body don't have the immune system that it would have if you took better care of yourself. Now, that's what I'm gonna say about that. And I love you more than anything, but that Kennedy dude is crazy.
But listen,
He might have had a little sense at one time, but
but listen,
but
the
today
work
we got
they
to hear him. And
the
for
work the
one
work
thing,
they did, and the reason I say this is it's not even about him as much as it's about, like I said, the people that I trust. And by him doing the work early with the Nation of Islam, with
and
the
then he got
minister,
all
and with
messed up.
huh.
And then he got all messed up, especially
But
when he
but
got
but the
drunk.
information, what I'm saying is the information he's saying he has is true, is real. Like you have a like I specialize as
But
a
when you
barber.
act that crazy and you're
I,
doing those
but
things,
listen. So listen,
okay, you're right.
as a barber, I specialize in dealing with autistic kids, and I can tell you firsthand the amount of autistic kids that come into my barbershop or into my chair has skyrocketed. It's ridiculous, and it's all levels of autism. It's not just
Awesome.
a broad spectrum of autism. But through their work, they were able to find that a lot of that is being caused from those vaccinations and the time periods that they're putting on these vaccinations. They have so many unnecessary ingredients in these things that it's ridiculous. The autism rate has skyrocketed since they changed the vaccination process and what's in the vaccinations. It was went up 324% in black boys alone, just black boys. So a lot of the information, see, a lot of people, I'm not on either side of the fence. I think they are both wings on the same bird of prey. You got the right wing and the left wing. I did the same people. I don't trust any of them. I'm sorry. I don't affiliate to any political party or any of that. I would much rather vote for. I don't even see why we have parties. I would much rather vote for an independent person running on what the issues are, and none of that other stuff should matter. It makes no sense. But anyway, I try to put that aside, and as an independent person, I could vote on for the person who I know did the research, who I know is being forthright with me as far as the work they're gonna do and the work they've done to present themselves to us. Because that's another thing you have to polish yourself up. You have to get the information and all that stuff to be able to run an election. So I get to see the work that you do as an independent. I don't even subscribe to a lot of that stuff. And I think if we go that route now, we'll get a better representation for ourselves every time we go to elect, instead of electing because I'm a Democrat or electing because I'm a Republican. You know what I'm saying? I'm an independent conservative. I think I'm conservative in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? But I do harbor a lot of liberal ideals. I ain't gonna say a lot. A few liberal ideals, but
I think we say the same. I think it's sad that we'll talk politics and we have a few more minutes, but we're not tired yet. So we'll talk some politics. But we have Scott's Sear that says there's so many factors to that. Speaking of vaccines, I think, and to blame vaccines without independent research is suspect.
well, there is an independent research. There's tons of research. There's tons of research. You're just not people just not getting it. As a matter of fact, they had to. All these people that I'm talking about during the pandemic, they were blocked. They were kicked off of all social media platforms. The government's not letting you know that they had to allow those people back, and they have a lawsuit that's pending with them. So all the information that these people were giving that they were trying to tell you was lies and this, that, and the third, it wasn't. But again, the information wasn't passed around the same.
Scott
So
Sear says anyone who believes a free election of any politician is crazy.
a free election of any politician.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think he's meaning, I don't know this person, but I think it's Democrat and Republican. This is my point on that matter, and this is what we're going through right now. We're going through elections here in Georgia, and we're taking candidates that we're gonna have a platform for.
mhm.
And I believe that the people come together, and we're going around, we're collecting information from people. What do you think we need to do? What do we need as a people? How are we going to solve the housing problems in our community? And bring that to candidates. This is what we need. This is what we want. This is, to me, that's democracy. And the candidate that best responds to the need of the people in a way we know that we're going to fix our life will be the candidate that get our vote. Of course,
Well,
we're having a lot of
if you
discussion.
remember, Ice Cube tried to do that. He literally tried to do that. He tried to present like, what are you going to do for us, for black people? How are you going to solve these X, Y, Z problems in the community to get our vote? And everybody got mad at it. He never said who he was going to vote for. He just went to sit down and talk. The other people didn't want to talk to him.
I
So,
don't hear this stuff about what you're going to do, because half of the stuff they're
yeah.
saying what they're going to do,
Well,
it
I
don't have
mean, this.
nothing to do with making our life better.
Well, this is the thing. All other nationalities that come to America, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They advocate for their community. Asians get stuff solely for Asians. Legal Hispanics get stuff solely for legal Hispanics. Indians, all of these people.
And they're bringing
You
the
know what I'm
ones
saying?
who's not legal to fill in the spots. Yes, they do.
Well, listen, that was a
I don't
democratic
have a
thing.
problem with that. That's what I'm saying.
That
I
was
don't have
that was a
a problem.
democratic thing. I don't have a this is my thing with immigration. I don't have a problem with you coming to this country legally, like anybody else who vies for their visa, get their citizenship or whatever. But if we break the law, what we do? We go to jail. That's breaking the law. Or if it was the shoe on the other foot and we had to go somewhere, do you think we would get met with the same hospitality that these
In
people would be
another
getting met with?
country? You mean to another country?
Yes.
No.
No.
One
So
place, one place in the world will let us come in and buy land and live. And I don't even know if it's as open as it was a few years ago. And that's
right, right.
Ghana.
Those landscapes change quick. Ghana still, but you going from Ghana to from the United States to Ghana, that's a big cultural change. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
but what I'm saying is if we got over there, you think we would be able to advocate for our right to do this, that, and the third in somebody else's country, and we illegal? No, that wouldn't happen. So I mean, it's now. Listen, I will say this because America loves to dig a ditch that it can't get itself out of. So what they did was the same thing they did with slavery. You know what I'm saying? They dug themselves into a hole with slavery. Then when they had to free the slaves, they weren't able to do none of the work. So that's how black people got the first little bit of wealth that we got because we was the only ones who knew how to do the work. So now you got the same thing happening with the Hispanics and some of the other nationalities that come here and work the jobs that nobody want to work. You know what I'm saying? That was the craziest thing about the Trump supporters to me. That just was just bananas to me. You actually fussing about people leaving, putting them out, and you're not gonna stand in the field and pick not one piece of fruit or plant one seed to grow one plant that we can eat. How much sense did that make? It didn't make any sense. A lot of the stuff that we're doing in America right now. So
Well, let me tell you something. Scott's Seer just said something that I experienced. I spoke at a national convention in Las Vegas this past summer. And
mhm.
Scott Sear said, and that's why Black Americans need to understand that term, people of color, is an illusion. None
Right.
of these groups care about us.
About
And
us.
I want you to know it's facade. People of color is a facade. And it's a facade that's hiding the truth. To make it look like, to water down our rights. They mix all of these people in it to make sure we don't get any of our rights.
Well, I mean, it's a double edged sword too, because and he's 1,000% right. So that's when I was talking about the delineation and all. That's the basis of everything that we talked about earlier, right there. So yeah, he's right. And then if you add the Chicago situation, man, they up there giving those people all kinds of money, and people over there starving. They out on the street homeless. If you go to LA right now, it is ridiculous. It is the homeless situation out there is utterly ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? People being as ingenuitive as possible. They got two-story box houses on the side of the street. Like it's crazy. Giant tents along the whole street. So imagine you paying $2,500 for a one bedroom or however the crazy prices is out there. And then you gotta walk past nothing but homeless people to get to your apartment. Because the whole street is filled with them. So that's what's happening to us while they giving these people all kinds of money, man. It's crazy. And then looking at us like we crazy when we say, "Hey, what's going on? What is this all about?" You know what I'm saying? And then the other part of it is like the guy said, like Scott said, you know, they get here and they don't really rock with us. They don't mess with us like that. You know what I'm saying? They tell us we don't have
They
no
put
culture.
them
We don't do this.
they'll
We
put
don't do that.
themselves above us. Yes.
What it is the proximity to whiteness.
Think they're not above us, but they
Right.
think
It's
they're
it's
mhm.
they want to be white adjacent. You know what I'm saying? They want the proximity to whiteness. They know they'll never be able to be white, but as long as they got it better than us. It's the same joke. It's the same play they used on the poor white man when Lyndon Johnson said, if you got a white boy who thinks he's better than a black man, then you'll have a customer or something like that forever, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You'll have a soldier forever, or something like that. So they hoodwink those people. I might be poor, but at least I ain't black. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mhm.
sorry, I'm outside. I got a plane coming over here.
That's okay. I don't
But
DS
yeah, it's like the proximity to whiteness is the fuel for them, and then what they do is they start to they start to intertwine into the family. So they'll marry one, have kids or something like that, and then that kid he'll go and date a white person, a white woman, or a white guy, and they water it down all the way till they can assimilate themselves into the white family. You
well,
know what I'm
we do the
saying?
same thing, Pooh.
Hmm?
We do the same thing.
Well,
Black people, some
we
black people do the same
I'm
thing.
about to say some of us we really can't because they won't accept us in. You see what I'm saying? They won't accept us in as easy. They can change a straight head Mexican looking guy, a Latin guy, easier
Unless
than
we
you
have
can a
money.
kinky haired
Mhm.
black guy. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's much easier to water down those genes as opposed to watering down a 6 foot dark skinned dude. You know what I'm saying? His genes.
Mhm.
That's gonna be a lot harder to do. But yeah, that's the whole immigration play. Bill Clinton actually did this to us with this NAFTA thing back in the day. I just was doing some research on that. I'm not even finished yet. I got to go back and finish looking at it. But when
Well,
he
you
signed
have
the
to come
NAFTA
back.
deal, Ross Perot was telling us that, and Ross Perot was an independent.
Okay. DS Sanders said Nigeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Cameroon invite people of African diaspora. I am moving to Kenya. Scott Sear says they use our blueprint against us.
Yeah, that's always been. We listen. We the biggest, and we are the culture. When we say we are the culture, that's exactly right now, because think about it. All the innovation, everything that's being sold is being sold with Black American uh culture, innovation. I don't care where you go. You go to Africa right now, they dressing like us. They listening to our music. You know what I'm saying? They're a little bit behind in time wise, but they still listening to the music from our genres of music. You know what I'm saying? We create, we built different over here. I'm not trying to like
We I talked
my
about last.
pride for my people. I don't want it to seem like I'm down in other races, but my pride for my people was immense for a reason.
We can say good things about us without we're not
Paying
even
other people
talking.
to do that. Yeah.
We're not doing that. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay for us. It's time for that. People say, wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and tell yourself all of these good things about yourself. And that's what we need to do as a race. Begin
Hmm.
to look in the mirror and say all these good things about ourselves. And I say here at Vivacious Speaks the New American Revolution, we have to revolutionize America. And the first thing we have to do in the race is we don't start out evenly because we're not evenly. Black folks need to lead up, which will make us even. You understand what I'm saying when I say that?
Hmm.
We're not even. Most of the things that they have that they make money off, we invented.
Well, look, we haven't been even with them for a few hundred years now.
So
You
if we
know,
say
just
we're
some.
balancing out America, they have to move on the side and let us come through. And we have to
Uh,
learn how to love us for us to come together and come through.
well, listen, that's what the whole delineation thing is about. Because if we could clean up our house, if we get to find out, define who we are,
Oh, I know who Scott
for number
said.
one,
Hmm.
if we could define who we are, then we could start to clean up the things that we know is wrong with us, the things that we know that's not in our nature. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? And that's on a personal level, on a family level, and then you take that out into your community. Clean your house first. Get on program. Get on code with. If he's black, stop. Like you just said, there's too much negative press on us. We do too much good stuff right now. You know what I'm saying? There was a big thing back in the day in my era about fatherless households and all that, and we didn't kill that. We're not doing that. We got 54% of us that's childless and single, right? We got 30% of us that's 30 some percent of us that's married in the household. It's only 16% of black males that's fathers and not in the household.
Hmm.
So we've been starting to turn it around. You know what I'm saying? Now I can't lie. We need to do some work with our sisters in this whole I don't even know what to call it era that we in with them, no clothes, and it's ridiculous. I love them, but they gotta do better.
And you know what? While we're on that, then I need to read what I know who Scott is. That's a very good friend of mine. And he is saying, I am not leaving America. Our ancestors built this country, and running away is not an option. We have to get control of our narrative. Absolutely, 100%.
I totally agree with Scott.
Scotty.
Yes,
Absolutely. And
I
Dia
agree with
said,
Scott.
that ain't going to happen. We must take it. I don't know what wasn't going to happen, so I can't make a statement on that. But Scasia, you absolutely right. We must take control of our
And
narrative.
and then honestly, the numbers show that most people that move to these different countries, they end up coming right back within a few years because it's because of the cultural differences.
I'm gonna
You
tell
know what I'm
you,
saying?
um,
We
Dia
we,
came.
we used a lot of stuff a certain way over here. So when we move it and we don't have that same
We ain't
comfort,
gonna
we,
first of all, we're not gonna get up and bake bread every morning. They don't have no bread. They don't have no bread at the store in Ghana.
right,
It is my desire before the year is out to go to visit, but they get up and make their bread.
right.
Um,
And I mean, see things like that. We love to hear that, but we not used. I don't think we're ready to be thrown back into time like that. You know what I'm saying? In some places,
you I'm
even
ready to eat
here,
that bread. No, I'm just teasing.
even here.
We over time, but are you tired?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good,
Because
man.
I want okay, good. Um, Dia said, um, ain't nobody running away. I'm getting my reparations and I'm gone. Ain't nobody going over there. But if it's 4 acres, you can't take the acres with you. Sell it.
Well, listen, to speak to one of the points Scott just made with the reparations thing, that was another reason why that came about, because they were starting to muddy up the waters, saying, well, if does that mean any African that comes that just came over, he gets reparations and all this kind of, they started to throw, like you said, they started to throw all us in the same pond. And we was like, wait, no, that's y'all tripping. Like, that's you know what's up. You know who we talking about, the descendants of chattel slavery and all that kind of stuff. You knew who we were talking about. So they went back to the drawing board and said, okay, cool. We talking about the ones who lineage go back all the way back to this particular point. So now you can't muddy up the waters. You know it's about 50 million of us. You gotta focus on these 50 million and what you gonna do for them, what you owe them. So yeah, he right. That whole color thing that was gonna usher in Indians and people who never went through nothing that we went through. They was gonna get a piece of the pie, which was gonna dilute the amount, the who it was for and all that kind of stuff.
Scott said, yes, they absolutely tried that.
hmm Yeah, they did. That was a big part of the movement. Like we honestly we getting some real straightening going on as far as like who we are, and I love it. I can't lie, I really love it because if we keep it up, we gonna only get stronger. We gonna only start to tie up the weak areas of our social construct. In other words, if we keep it up, we actually getting better in finances, but we got to get way better. We're not even brushing the surface of what we got to do. For instance, you brought up I've always been great with business, but I've never been the best with finances. So I can make a ton of money. That's not an issue. Knowing what to do with it, knowing where to invest, how to invest, um, how to break up your percentages to save and to use in your day to day. Our kids, we don't even know that. You know what I'm saying? All our counterparts, they learn that probably before they get out of high school. So by the time get out of high school, they get to college. By the time they get out of college, they already been, you know, they got a stash already. Their credit is up. They might even have a property or something like that. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But they are taught finances. This is something that should be in our schools, and I never understood why it's not. Because if I was
It should be in
innovative,
our homes.
it's
My nanny,
it used
look,
to be in our homes. Definitely, we used to teach
yes,
this,
I
but
came up with that.
again, a lot of this stuff is gone. So now we got to try and implement it back. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
like
saying? Because
like my
think
nanny.
about all the businesses that I started. Even back then when I was a kid, I had the sense enough to take food stamps, paper food stamps, to go and buy candy and flip the candy for actual cash money. So, and I did this on a regular basis, and guess what happened? It wasn't me that stopped. It was the school. It was bureaucracy. So the fact that my candy was selling more than their candy that they had to shut me down. You see what I'm saying? But if I had the mindset and the logistics at that age to go and say, okay, well, I'm gonna circumvent and do it this way, maybe sell after school or whatever, and then I'm gonna take this money and do this and maybe turn it into a little snack stand for after school. I'd have went a lot further with the candy store than I did, when they cut me off. But I didn't have that type of knowledge. Nobody passed that to me. You know what I'm saying?
And this is one thing that happens with us. And when I was working with the campaign here in Georgia with Kamala Harris for president, when I was working with that, I sat there in a debate and I watched, and I just saw white people and some Chinese people. They were sitting in there, and I can figure out who was the spies. They
Right.
wouldn't. They wouldn't take any pictures. They didn't make any responses because she was eating them up. They didn't make any responses. I just checked the room out. And unfortunately, even in Martin Luther King's time, the people that was closest to him was the people that opened the door to other people to come in and kill him. So we blame other people for killing him, but they couldn't kill him without our support.
Well, they get these people. We have a name for them now. Back then we didn't even know they exist, but they were under COINTELPRO. But now we call them tethers. These people that tie on to us into the community and stuff. And you just really gotta watch them. If they introducing some kind of radical thought or something, they always come out of left field with something. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta start to learn their actions and pass the information on about these type of people. You know what I'm saying? They always been there and they're gonna be there. But if we start to be able to point them out, then we kill that particular weapon that they try to use against us. But that's what
Mhm.
again, that's what a lot of this is about. We delineating, we getting away from that. We getting consolidated, in other words. So our blackness is gonna be more concentrated as Americans. You know what I'm saying? We really know who we are. So
Okay,
that's a big thing.
give me 10 more minutes. I want to talk about this
Hmm.
war that's going on. Do you believe, because I was saying earlier, we should pass on the baton? We should not go from Obama to a man 70, 80. Things happen. We also have to understand, for me, from my point of view, if you're the president, you have to be the president for everybody.
Hmm.
So,
For all
think,
Americans. For all
yes,
Americans.
right, right. So, with that being said, do you believe if you say we got it going on, help me with this. If we had half of the sense we should have with government of today, do you think we would be in this war? If we understood to move forward, to
Well, we
be open to hear what other generations and each other have to say and build on that.
right. Well, let me say this. We we never really swayed the pendulum when it came to going into war. We always swayed the pendulum after they got into war. So we never been able to tell them not to go to war. Black people I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? We didn't really steer that card for them. But what we did was when we got there, we won the wars for them. You know what I'm saying? And you can look at the numbers and everything. Most of the wars that they won, they didn't win until black people got it, just so they allowed us to come and fight. So again, we don't really sway. That's a corporate thing, and that's
But
the biggest devil
Congress,
in the world to me.
but
That's the biggest problem with America and with the world in general. The corporate setup, the global corporate structure is just horrible. It
wow.
doesn't benefit anybody but themselves.
Do you think we could ever fix it?
That's gonna be a deadly game. A lot of people will lose their lives during that, because that's what you're going to war with right now. That's what it's behind. It's behind resources. It'll always be behind resources in lines, drawing lines. It's hypocritical in a lot of ways. It's just us being bullies in a lot of ways too. Because I kind of feel Iran in some ways, in the sense of how can you have a weapon protecting your country, but I can't have a weapon protecting my country. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem with weapons. Because once one person get one, then everybody got to get one. You see what I'm
But my
saying?
thing
So now
is,
you
how you
got a
gonna
world. So
tell
now you
those
got a
people?
world full of missiles, and you could blow the world up two, three times over because everybody's scared of the next person who got this particular kind of weapon.
But if you wasn't going in there looking for them people, president talk about their country not running good, and you are daggone shame, then
Well,
uh,
listen,
God
Obama
says
did the
deliver.
same thing. I can't lie. Obama took out Gaddafi, and Gaddafi had Libya beautiful. Libya didn't have no debt, no nothing. But because they were going to change the global structure of how the dollar was going to be, where the dollar was going to fall in a grand scheme of like the global economy, he had to go. So every president has done something in that sense. George Bush, it was 9/11. And they had something going on in almost every presidency that called for some type of military action. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in Iran. Iran been, if you go online right now, go on YouTube, wherever you got to go. Iran's posting out. out of the gazoo. They every post they posting like we don't have a problem with black people.
Right.
That
And you
they
remember,
don't
I don't
have nothing. They
know
don't
what
do
year
like
it is.
black people. Same thing that they were saying in Germany and in a couple of other war in Vietnam. Same thing. They were saying the same thing. Black man, this is not your war. We don't have a problem with you. Uncle Badi told me that back in the 80s. You know, so in and then to see documentaries to back up what he was telling me, just let me further know that we again keep taking on problems that's not ours. You know what I'm saying? If you said something earlier, if we don't step in, we won't have a country to you know to fall back to. I don't think so. I think a
But
lot of stuff is gonna get cleaned up through this chaos. I
I,
think
I,
a lot
pray,
of it.
I pray that's what's happening, but they will not get my grandson in the war. I will leave this country. I'm about to get his passport right now. But that goes back to our discussion earlier when we said, do we fight these people's war? And I was saying to save ourselves and our children, we fight the war. So,
Well, we got to pick up the baton in the areas that affects us as well as them. You know what I'm saying? And certain things like everybody has to get the housing prices down. Like this housing situation is ridiculous across the whole United States. It's
mm,
ridiculous. That's one of the biggest problems right now because if you able to get the prices of housing and stuff down, people will have a little bit extra money. They wouldn't be so uptight. You know what I'm
food, about
saying?
food. Dia
But
says that idiot will not survive the year. No, let his son fight.
listen, they ain't gonna never send their son. They never have sent their sons to war. So we could that's wishful thinking.
And
But
that's why Prince Harry answered him. Prince Harry, when he said nobody helped America in the war, Prince Harry, see, in other countries, the leaders go to war. And Prince Harry said that he led two times, he went to war two times in support of America, twice in support of America, whatever the war
well,
was.
I have a lot of respect for Harry and them because he did go to war. He didn't have to either. He didn't have to fight. But a lot of countries, their leaders are involved strategically in the war. Yeah.
And that's biblical.
So that, but that's historical. It dates all the way back to the wars in Africa and stuff like that. When in Carthage and all that, when they were fighting against when the Greeks tried to invade and all those people tried to invade Africa. So that's been you know one of the strategies, but that started to change when they would take out the leaders, so the leaders would fall back and be at the back of the directing whatever's going on.
Yeah.
But I know he's not sending his people. Is none of them are sending their sons to war. None of that, unless
And
the
then I get
child
my
decides to go on
grandson.
their own. So you know, but again, I, I don't. It might be a lot of kick up. It's gonna be bad for a minute, but I don't know. I don't think it's going. I don't think the war is gonna last. He can't get another term. So what I'm saying. Everybody, every time I pass somebody who talk about Donald Trump, they say, "Well, he gonna try and make himself get another term." It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
No, I'm saying no. I'm just saying a guy told me
No,
that
I would say that comment that
a guy told me that on the elevator today, and I started laughing because I knew I was coming on the show, and I'm like, bro, it's not gonna happen. Oh, like we put our anxiety in the wrong places. If he tried to go for another term, that would start the Civil War. That would start something because a lot of these people they're not gonna sit back and allow the Constitution and all the stuff. Like, what's gonna make him so special to where he can make himself a dictator? And because that then he would like everybody call him a dictator. Then he would be becoming a dictator if he did that. But that I don't think they would allow that to happen. That would split your military. That would split your government. That would split That would split America down the middle. So I don't think he's definitely not gonna get another term.
I
Now
don't
how
think.
much now how much he messes up before he gets out, that's still yet to be seen.
Yeah,
But like I
and,
said, some of the chaos, y'all gonna see some of the chaos that he's creating is gonna benefit America in the long run. You know what I'm
and it's
saying?
going to benefit us as blacks. I
Yeah,
don't have a problem with a revolution here,
yeah.
but
Now,
we
we
will
have a
not go
revolution of
fight.
comfort here. Ain't nobody gonna fight here because they're too fat and we we too bloated with comfort. Like we not going. That's why the civil rights movement and all that stuff is gone and it's been redirected and reappropriated towards other groups. You know what I'm saying? Because we done got too comfortable. It's just that simple. You know, nobody's gonna fight the brother, what's his name? Killer Mike. He said something about this at a forum, you know what I'm saying? He's like, most black people got high blood pressure and hypertension. I mean and diabetes. You know what I'm saying? How we gonna fight? We not the same people we was 60 years ago, even 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because we were outside. We could fight. We could go outside. We fought. These kids, they behind games. They on first
We
person
ate
shooter games
from
all
the
day.
we ate well. We
Drank
took
water
care
out the
of
water hole.
ourselves.
Yeah, we were able. We did things that coincided with you fighting against somebody outside in the terrain. You understand what I'm saying? We
Mhm.
ran. We were going all day. We had bikes. We know the cuts and the back streets. And these kids, you can't send them to the bus stop. So you know who's gonna fight these? Who's gonna fight this war? We getting. I'm about to be 50 years old. I ain't got too much left in the tank.
No, huh?
You know, I'm a good fight, but I ain't got too much left in the tank. I don't know.
Scott said we're spoiled.
We are. We definitely are. We are. And that's a big problem because we don't have the fighting now. We can see the thing happening to us now, but now what we do is we go to the phone. We want to get everything on camera. Back in the day,
You will watch somebody get killed,
yeah,
video it.
just to get the video. Like that's crazy, you know, and that's that's the number one thing. Like now I don't get mad at people for a lot of reasons for not intervening nowadays, because a lot of times people be doing crazy stuff and then they go to screaming and holler, somebody help me, and they be the cause of whatever happens. So you got
Right.
to be careful who you advocate for, even in our own community. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of getting ourselves right. You know what I'm saying?
I want
Telling
you to
people
come
when they're
back.
wrong.
I
Hmm?
want you to come back because we need to talk about our community and getting us together. I've enjoyed tonight, but it's like way over time. But I enjoy it. Thank you so much for coming. Please, so if we have you back, it has to be on a Thursday night, right?
Yeah, Thursday. Just check with me. I can either do it on a Thursday, a Friday, or a Saturday. That's the only days I'm off right now until I get back to the barbershop. I'm trying to do that by the end of the year. But we
Oh,
also, let me put these plugs in. I'm sorry. Let me give a shout
all
out
right.
to my boy Tariq Nasheed. His name is Tariq Nasheed. The name of the docu-series is Hidden Colors. He's coming out with Hidden Colors 6. He just finished doing the building of the GoFundMe, so it's getting funded for the sixth docu-series of Hidden Colors. Me and my team, we got back to work. I know you've been worrying about us getting back to work.
Yes, yes.
So we have a drama series that we're working on. It's called Heavy. So we're doing the trailers for that right now. We about to finish wrapping up probably within the next month or so. We'll be done with that, and then we're gonna try and shop it. We were gonna try and put it out ourselves, but that's kind of cost a little too much. So we're gonna try and shop it around and see if somebody likes it and take it from there. So be looking out for Heavy, Heavy.
Okay. Um, Dia says thank you and ask him if he needs a vocalist. And you know who Dia is.
I think
When
that's
you when you came and you heard her sing at my event,
yeah.
you have her art. You want a picture of art from her.
I still
And
got my picture. Yeah,
we got to get her to sign it. And then
definitely.
Sigrid said, "Good night, everyone. Good night. We're gonna have you back. I'll try you next month. Okay.
That's cool.
All
Just hit
right.
me up and give me a date and a time, and we'll work it out.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had a good time. Love you, Nanny. I
I
wish you
love
much
you.
success.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.